And now, live from Honolulu, Hawaii, it's time for Dr. Health Radio, Hawaii's #1 health talk show, bringing you the latest information on medicine, nutrition, fitness, and wellness. Now, in its 20th year, your host of Dr. Health is David Snow, who is a health expert, although not a doctor. And while most of David's guests are doctors or authorities in their area of expertise, they do not diagnose or prescribe on the air. If you have a condition that requires medical attention, see a health professional. The information contained in this show is for education and entertainment purposes only. Here now, your host of Dr. Health Radio, the Snowman himself, David Snow.
Hey, welcome back. This is Dr. Kevin Gibson filling in for David. David will be back next week. I don't know if we have, is Ann on the line, Chaz? No. So we're calling Ann now, or excuse me, Kira. We just talked to Ann. We're calling Kira now. Kira, let me just give you some background. She's a UC Santa Barbara graduate, is a California licensed administrator for assisted living and dementia care communities. Over the past 10 years, Kira has managed communities for some of the nation's leading providers of senior living facilities. Good experience. Communities managed by Atria Senior Living, Integral Senior Living, and some small owners and operators. They all benefited from Kira's distinctive approach, which emphasizes the importance of a warm, supportive, family feeling and home-like environment. And I don't know if you guys have been in some of these care homes, and some of them don't feel very warm and supportive. So I think having somebody like Kira to help create a different environment so your loved ones are really cared for. Let me give you some more background on Kira before we get to you. Besides her 10 years as an administrator, her contribution to senior living included collaborative projects in activities, dining, and dementia programs. In fall 2011, Kira spoke at a state conference for California Assisted Living Association on the benefits of laughter for seniors and seniors with dementia. Boy, isn't that important. I get so depressed when I go into one of these facilities, and there's not much laughter. There's more crying and what looks like neglect. So, Kira, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
How did you get involved in this to begin with?
You know, I had the I had the greatest fortune of at the time I was looking for a different position in a different industry, and there was an ad in a sales position for an assisted living community in my neighborhood, and I went in for an interview, and it was the first time I felt at home being with people that I truly enjoy being around.
Wow, that's if you can love where you work, then your work will be joy and you'll do a great job. That's terrific. Too often I feel like, as I mentioned in the first hour, I've had some personal experience with this with the loved ones in care homes, and I've wanted to make sure that my grandmother was getting physical therapy, or, her meds were administered appropriately or whatever. And sometimes it felt like, these were the most unhappy people on the planet managing these places. Now, obviously, we all have our bad days, and maybe it's somebody that's filling in or who knows what. But when people feel trapped in an assisted care living facility, what a terrible way to end their life.
It is, and that's why it was really important for me when I stepped immediately into a management position, was to truly treat the residents there, because it's their residence, it's their home, either by choice or because of the needs that they had, to treat them like residents and let them have as independent of a lifestyle as possible. And I would train my staff to be sensitive to that, because the more my staff or the frontline caregivers and the wait staff followed that philosophy and practice, the more relaxed the senior would be, and they would feel that they truly have control over their life and not being just placed in a building.
I like that. Yeah, the feeling that it's a community. It's the residents. It's a community. It's a shared that and from the top down, obviously, that makes a big difference. When you have obviously there's different transitional points. There's independent living, there's assisted living, and then there's basically a hospital bed. You've worked in all those environments, I presume?
Yes.
Yeah. When people transition, I would think the toughest part is when people start to lose their independence. They break a hip, they can't walk anymore, they lose their driver's license, those kinds of things. How do you help individuals sort of acclimate to that more compromised environment?
It's a really tough conversation to have, and especially when I've seen where families, like well-intentioned daughter-in-laws or daughters, are trying to have that conversation, letting their parents know it's not safe to drive anymore, or after a hip replacement surgery, that things get slowed down. It's really a team approach, and as long as you're giving encouraging words to that senior to let them know, this may have been, been stopped for you, the ability to drive, but you still can make choices. You still can ask for help. There's nothing wrong. There's no harm in asking for help, because that's what everyone is here to do, is to help you. But it's definitely a team approach, and you have to get everyone on the same page.
Exactly. I want to talk about the social model versus a medical model in these care homes, and how, I mean, you've kind of already addressed it, but how that sort of tact, that approach from management and frontline can really make the environment different, and how maybe those that are assessing a care home can make some intelligent decisions before they place a loved one. We're going to have to take a quick break, Kira, and we'll be back to answer those questions. You're listening to the Dr. Health radio program, AM 690 KHNR.
Noni has been used by Polynesians and Hawaiians for over 2,000 years as their main medicinal plant. Now our new products bring the power of noni fruit to you in a pleasant-to-use form.